Blockchain for business, can you be honest, who still associates blockchain with cryptocurrency? The underpinnings of crypto or Bitcoin is blockchain as a technology. The technology behind that's what we want to talk about today.
Hi, my name is Clark Varin. I'm an American, but my business is in Uganda. And I'm most interested in the application of blockchain in emerging markets, especially when it comes to financial inclusion. So I have a microfinance institution in Uganda. It's what I like to call a centralized microfinance institution. And I'll be talking a little bit more about my idea for a decentralized microfinance institution where you have a community-led program with its own governance structure and run on the blockchain with complete transparency. And I believe that with this type of solution, it could be something that completely revolutionizes the way that people in emerging markets that want to start a business or whatnot access capital. The real benefit of blockchain is that it increases trust and transparency, right? So what I'm really excited about is in a place like Sub-Saharan Africa or Uganda, where my business is, where investors don't really trust me when I say, or not just me, but they just don't trust the industry when we say like, hey, microloans have really good repayment rates. So I currently have a centralized microfinance institution in Uganda, but we can't access these really far-off farmers, for example. And what they do in order to like self-bank themselves is they create savings and credit cooperatives, which are called SACCOs. And those are like decentralized microfinance institutions. So a decentralized microfinance institution is where each person puts their own savings into the middle like pot, and then from that pot of money in the middle, they'll end up giving microloans to one person in the community each week, for example. Now, the UN talks about this as this could be a really amazing way for us to, eradicate poverty in places that are really hard to reach areas, because farmers in distant places will do that. But it's really hard for these people to access capital because banks and other investors and whatnot don't trust whether or not they're going to be able to pay back. But if you had a blockchain-based portfolio management software that shows them, hey, these people are paying on time, and you can see the exact portfolio at risk, then that would be able to open up affordable debt into those places where right now people have no other alternative to capital. So at the end of the day, I think that one of the coolest applications of trust and transparency is how can you trust someone that's out in the middle of the countryside of Uganda and trust them that you could give them a microloan without ever having met that person before. So that's what I'm most excited about in this industry. I think it could be one of the most life-changing or world-changing applications ever.
Thanks, Clark. Ryan?
What I would really like to see, and where I kind of see this going, is a disruption of old power structures. And I don't mean just government, right? I mean things like when you introduce things like transparency, as was being talked about, into things like microfinancing, you're disrupting old power structures like fear, right? Fear and an inability to see what people are doing with your money and what you're putting your money into, and that is powerful there.
I think that one of the most hyped up things that blockchain has completely failed at is banking the unbanked. And one of the reasons why is because transaction fees are ridiculously expensive and ridiculously slow. And the big limitation behind blockchain is that it's linear. One block builds off of the next block, builds off of the next block. You can only be building one block at a time. And so one of the most exciting projects that I've heard about is actually a post-blockchain solution. It's called a DAG. And it's kind of like a blockchain solution, but instead of building one block at a time, it builds like a waterfall where it kind of like trickles down. Multiple blocks can be built off each other at once. And then the blocks will recategorize into different regions. So when you look through the blockchain, you don't have to look through the entire chain to find what you're looking for. You only have to look through relevant blocks. And that can dramatically reduce the amount of time that it takes for a transaction to go through or any other information to process. And it'll make transaction fees really, really, really cheap. And once you have a solution that is fast and cheap, that's when things like microloans, micropayments really become a reality. Until that happens, it's not a reality.
Thanks.